Yo, Pro Sports Podcast, and we are back. Look, man, it was a crazy weekend. When it comes to football, the NFL had a pretty good slate of games on yesterday. I know it was a lot of games that were supposed to be nail biters that ended up being duds. There were a few games that were supposed to be duds that ended up being nail biters. There were some games where there were crazy comebacks. There were some games where teams just totally dropped the ball, literally dropped the ball. Just to recap, we want to recap the games from yesterday. The Jets beat the Browns. And let's see here. It looks like at one point in the first half, it was tied at 14. The Jets scored 17 in the fourth quarter for the comeback win. 17 points. Joe Flacco with a horrible completion percentage, 26 for 44, 307 yards, 4 touchdowns. A lot of that coming in that fourth quarter, blasting that they gave the Browns. The Browns, the running game really didn't carry them. The Browns, without a quarterback, the Browns are going to be, they have to run the ball. They have to run. Nick Chubb has to have over 100 yards. Kareem Hunt has to have 60 yards. They need almost 200 yards in rushing to win in this league without a quarterback, without Deshaun Watson, without Baker Mayfield. You're going to need some running game, and it seems like that's what they were banking on yesterday until the fourth quarter when the time came to actually throw the ball, when you had to throw the ball, and, those guys just couldn't get it done. But seemed like it was a thriller of a game. I actually didn't get to watch that game. There were so many games on yesterday, like, you really had to take your pick what you were going to watch, what team you were into. I had about 5 games up at one time. Flipping through tabs, commercial break comes on, I go to the next game, commercial break comes on that, I go to the next game. I'm watching the Carolina with Baker Mayfield game, first and foremost, mixed in with the Cincinnati-Dallas game. The interesting games actually ended up being that Miami and Baltimore game, because, you talking about Lamar Jackson played the perfect game. You literally couldn't play perfect game at least through 3.5 quarters than Lamar Jackson did. You're talking about a guy that he rushed for 9 carries a night, 119 yards off 9 carries for a quarterback. I haven't seen that kind of a number since Mike Vick, honestly. But one thing I will shout out, Tua Tagovailoa. Look, this guy has been doubted. He's been hated on by the mainstream media. He hasn't given a fair chance. He hasn't had a good roster. He hasn't had much to work with. 36 for 50, 469 yards, 6 touchdowns. Bro, Tyreek Hill went crazy. So at the end of the first quarter, the Ravens are up 7-0. At the end of the second quarter, at halftime, it's 28-7, guys. It's 28-7. Through 3 quarters, it's 35-14. And then the Dolphins come back in the fourth quarter and beat them 28-3 in the fourth quarter alone. Crazy, bro. They doubted Tua. They said that he couldn't see down the field. They said that Tyreek Hill wouldn't thrive with Tua Tagovailoa, that he can't throw the long ball, the deep ball. Guess what? That's exactly what he did. 11 receptions for 190 freaking yards for Tyreek Hill, bro. 2 tutties to go along. Tagovailoa had 469 yards. Tyreek Hill had 190. That means he was throwing to everybody. Everybody was eating. This was, I didn't get to catch it until the comeback started. I didn't get to see. I saw all of the highlights from Lamar Jackson's first half. You were literally looking at him like, this guy, and even after the loss, I'm like, this guy he's top tier, bro. He bet on himself. The Ravens didn't want to pay him. He said that he needed this X amount of money. The Ravens said, nah, we're not going to do that. We're not sure yet. He said, okay, hold up. I got you. Last week played spectacularly last week. This week played spectacular again. He was phenomenal yesterday. The passes Lamar Jackson made yesterday in the first 3 quarters, or, mostly the first half, but the first 3 quarters, phenomenal. But this game came down to who wants to be 1-1, who wants to be 2-0. Tua has a lot to prove. So does Lamar Jackson, because you're pretty much saying, don't worry about it. I'll show you that I'm worth that big contract. And you're putting yourself at risk being out here every week playing without that contract in hand. But he's only done good for himself these first 2 games. I will say that a lot of the conflict with signing him to a long-term deal is that he's a leg-first type of quarterback, and he's proven, that he has it all. He has the complete game. It's just a mental thing. For these guys coming in, it's mainly mental. They come in with all the physical attributes. You have to catch up to the mental aspect of the professional league. Because those guys, they think on a higher level. They see 3 and 4 steps ahead of a guy who's just starting out, who's just getting going. Great game, phenomenal game. The Dolphins are 2-0. Super exciting for the league, for the Dolphins to be contenders. They win 42-38 over the Ravens, who I expect to be contenders as well, at least playoff contenders, the way they're playing. They're not playing bad. They let this one slip away. They took their foot off the brakes a little too much, and that can happen. You don't want to, when you're up 35-7, was it 28-7, 35-7, 35-14? It's a slippery slope because in football, it only takes 2 scores and then you have a nail biter. You can be down 14, 17 points, 2 scores later, it's a nail biter. That is the beauty of the sport in itself. Baker. Let's talk about Baker Mayfield and the Carolina Panthers. You know, going into this season, I actually had high hopes. You know, I had high hopes for the Panthers, whereas a lot of people were saying that they were going to be the worst team in the NFL. I gave Baker Mayfield, a healthy Baker Mayfield, a little bit more benefit of the doubt with a healthy Christian McCaffrey, DJ Moore, who's, you know, a solid receiver. But look, man, it's just not working. You know, it's just not working. Baker doesn't have guys who can create a lot of separation when it matters. And he's not really, there's some throws that he's making where it's like, bro, that was rookie year. That was second year Baker throw. You know, 14 for 29 is not horrible, but only 145 yards passing, bro. Only 1 touchdown. He only averaged 5 yards per pass yesterday. He was sacked 2 times, lost 16 yards, a quarterback rating of 74.6. Let me put that in comparison to you. Daniel Jones, 22 for 34, $176. Same 5 yards per attempt, 1 touchdown, sacked 3 times for 14 yards, had a higher QBR, had a higher passer rating. You can't get outplayed by Daniel Jones. You just can't. You just can't. Now, mind you, the Giants are playing a lot better. The defense is a lot better, much improved. The O-line is much improved. You have Saquon Barkley back, had another decent day, 21 carries, 72 yards. But you had Christian McCaffrey with 15 carries for 102. Why did he only get 15 carries, bro? So, you know, I'm kind of split because you can't sit here and preserve Christian McCaffrey. He's a football player. He's a football player. You, as much as you want to keep him from getting injured, and as much as we know he's injury prone to the core, you can't sit here and just let the guy carry the ball 15 times and he's got a buck on it already. He's got 102 yards. Mind you, one of those carries went for 49 yards. So really 14 carries for the other 50, 60 yards. You know what I mean? After that 1 carry, he really didn't do much. But whose fault is that? I'm trying to figure out why the Carolina Panthers have the running game and are trying to force Baker Mayfield into being the hero. I'm trying to figure out how the Carolina Panthers have 3 fumbles in one game. Robbie Anderson, Hubbard fumbled and lost. Robbie Anderson fumbled and lost. Baker Mayfield fumbled, lost yards. How do you, if you're the Carolina Panthers, how do you waste a game where you have 3 guys with 10 tackles? Got 3 guys with 10 tackles, bro. I'm looking on here, and this is not good, bro. And this is going to come down on Matt Rule. A lot of it has to do with schemes. A lot of it has to do with right place, right time. And a lot of that has to do with how you practice and how you learn the game and how you teach the game. I don't see the Carolina Panthers. You know, I can't think of a team that's going to be worse than them. That's the problem. I can't think of a team. The Lions are decent. The Bears are decent. I don't know of a team that's going to be worse. The Panthers are going to have to they're going to have to upset some teams just to have a decent season, just to come away with a season. This was a winnable game, and their first game against the Browns was a winnable game. And that's proven by the score. Once again, losing off of a field goal, Baker Mayfield. I don't know what to say, man. I don't know what to say. There's not much to talk about when it comes to... It's sad, bro. It's sad because the NFC South, you have Tampa Bay, the Buccaneers up there at the top. They're 2-0. Then New Orleans has Jameis Winston. Atlanta got Marcus Mariota. Bro, you can win this freaking division. The Bucs are 2-0. You can contend with the Saints if you're a decent team. If you're Baker Mayfield, your first overall pick, if you live up to that name, you should at least be contending for second place in the NFC South. Yeah, you know, obviously, you know, it looks like the Giants are gonna win the NFC East. If Dallas not gonna get it together. Washington is Washington. Philadelphia, and we don't know. Philly has a nice roster, but we'll see tonight, you know, how they actually look. And I don't know. I don't want to jump too far ahead on that Eagles train. They are deep, but they are playing against the Vikings. And the Vikings are no joke this year. So, you know, that's something to think about. Let's see. You know, playing game, I'm not going to spend a ton of time on. I watched some of it, but yo, this has got to be the passing of Matt Ryan. This has got to be Matt Ryan's last season. You know, some of these guys, they hold up, you know, Drew Brees, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, you know, they can play into their late 30s, early 40s, whatever. I don't think Matt Ryan has that in him. I don't think he's made of that kind of sauce. You know what I mean? I think he's been washed since that Super Bowl year, since that 28-3 giveaway to Tom Brady, I don't think he's ever been the same, bro. This guy is not Matty Ice anymore. He's a shell of himself. You're talking about Matt Ryan, 16 for 30, $195, only 6.5 yards per pass, 0 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Bro, this, a QBR of 6.3. Mind you, you're going up against a second-year quarterback in Trevor Lawrence, who went 25 for 30, amazing, 235 yards, steady, 7.8 yards per pass, 2 touchdowns, no picks, not sacked not once, never sacked not once, QBR of 95.3, and a passer rating of 121.5 compared to Matt Ryan's 34. This game, bro, they could have went and got Jimmy G. You know what I mean? Is Jimmy G better than Matt Ryan? Damn right he is. I think so. Right now, this Matt Ryan, bro, I turned on the game. You got Jonathan Taylor back there. He can't even get off because he's got Matt Ryan handing the ball off to him. You got Matt Ryan handing off the ball to literally top 3 running back in the league. It makes no difference. You know they're not passing the ball if they don't have to. Matt Ryan couldn't get the ball down the field last night. It shows that $195, bro, that's people put that up in the first half. You know what I mean? I don't know where the Colts go from here. When I talk about the Panthers being the worst team in the league or not, I have to put the Colts in there because they're in the same situation. A quarterback who you can't be sure of, a pretty dull wide receiver crew. You know, they don't have any names on their wide receiver list that you know, which is crazy. Top tier running back, just like the Panthers, and they fumble the ball a lot, just like the Panthers. They've got some pretty decent guys on defense, but you know, what does it matter when your offense gives you 0? You know how hard it is to score 0 points in the NFL? Most of these kickers get in range at the 40-yard line, at the 40. Now you're talking about a 55-yard field goal? That's a layup for some kickers. So you're telling me you didn't get in field goal range the whole game, bro. Not only does that speak volumes about the Jaguars, who improved to 1-1, but that says a lot about Matt Ryan, who is not capable of leading a team past a second-year quarterback. I mean, you're supposed to be showing this guy the rope, you know, showing him what it's like to be in the NFL in a high stakes game. You're supposed to put pressure on Trevor Lawrence to be the young guy, you know? And I feel like Matt Ryan doesn't have that. I don't know, man. I wanted to see Matt Ryan retire. It's tough. I feel sorry for the bro because he looked so small and just washed out. He looked washed, bro. It looked bad, man. And when you're Matt Ryan and you can't get your team in field goal position all game, you're talking about field goal position, bro. You're talking about field goal position. So you won't get shut out 24-3 like you did. It's disrespectful to the viewers, man. Really. Gino! Hey, man, I saw a lot of people talking that Gino talk last week. Well, they said that they didn't give him a chance and da-da-da-da-da. Well, he had a chance last night and it didn't go so well. 24 for 30, 197 yards, not horrible. No touchdowns, 1 interception. QBR 51 and a passer rating of 80 is not going to get it done. Yo, this was a game that saw Trey Lance early on only attempted 3 passes before he broke his freaking ankle. Yes, broke his ankle in the pocket. Guy landed on it. I didn't really see. I saw the replay a couple times, but you know, so much stuff going on yesterday with the NFL. He got carted off on a cart. That's what I do know. And there you go. The Trey Lance era for the season is done. He's out for the season. So it's not a good look as far as the 49ers trying to move on from Jimmy G all summer long, keeping him at the last second. And then now he has to play in the second game on to the rest of the season. But one thing I do know about Jimmy G, he's been disrespected by the game of football a couple times since he's been in the NFL. He's okay, man. He's okay. One thing I know for sure about that guy is that he's strong-willed. He has his mental together, because to step in a situation like that ready as he was, did he blow your mind yesterday? No. But 13 for 21, $154, a touchdown, no picks, only got sacked 1 time right at the line of scrimmage, and a passer rating of 100. That'll work. You know what I mean? That'll work. I can live with that. As soon as he came in the game, guys started getting those little dump down receptions and those little receptions out down the seams like we're used to seeing. Not only that, San Francisco winning this game 27-7, shut down DK Metcalf. Shut him down. 6 targets, 4 receptions, 35 yards. Shut him down. Did they give all of that to Tyler Lockett? Yeah, they did. 9 receptions, $107, 11 targets. No touchdowns though. So yeah, I think that they got Marquise Goodwin. He's like 1 target for 0 catches. Wow. But you know, it's weird. Marquise Goodwin's only 31. That's crazy. Wow. I didn't know they had him. It shows that Gino is a backup, man. And yeah, he might be able to give you a good game, 2 good games, but once these NFL teams and coaches start getting that tape on him, you know, that's when a backup quarterback starts looking like a backup quarterback. You know, 1 or 2 games a year, a team might not specifically scheme for that player, but you know, Geno Smith he is who he's going to be. He's not going to shake your world or change the world. The Cowboys and the Bengals, man, this is one of the games I actually watched front to back yesterday for the most part. Wanted to see if Cooper Rush could pull it off, which he did. Joe Burrow was on the ground a lot. Joe Burrow sacked 6 times, lost 34 yards off just sacks. You know, it's really hard for a guy to be successful when he's on his ass the whole freaking game. And that's kind of where I'm at with the Bengals. They have the talent. They got, you know, T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, Aiden Hurst, Tyler Boyd. They got some talent, bro. But what does it matter if the freaking O-line is so horrible? And you have guys like Micah Parsons coming for you, and you don't have any edge block. You don't have any blockers on the edge. I don't understand it, bro. What the Bengals was doing yesterday, I don't understand. They're gonna have freaking Joe Burrow sitting in a wheelchair in the next 5 years at this rate. Cooper Rush showed that he can at least manage a win, you know, which is, you know, I'll give him credit. 19 for 31, 235 yards, a touchdown, passer rating of 95, QBR of 78. You know, that's nothing to poo-poo. That's not horrible. It's nothing like a Dak Prescott good game. But, you know, who knows how often you get a Dak Prescott good game when he's healthy. He's so up and down. Zeke Elliott, 15 carries, 53 yards. Tony Pollard had a crazy run. I forgot what quarter it was. It was kind of early on. He had a 17-yard touchdown run. Other than that, they didn't really do too much off the ground. Noah Brown had a pretty good game, 5 receptions, 91 yards. Only targeted 5 times, 5 receptions. You would have thought that they would target him more than 5 times, seeing he caught the ball every time he was targeted. Got a tutty, only receiving tutty on the team for 28 yards, and finished with 91 yards. CeeDee Lamb got targeted 11 times and only caught the ball 7 times for 75 yards. No touchdown. So I'm trying to figure out, what are they going to do when Michael Gallup gets back, if he ever comes back? What are they going to do? That's what you want to, if you're a Cowboys fan, that's what you want to know, is how are they going to fit Michael Gallup in there when they're literally trying to force feed the ball to CeeDee Lamb. They're literally force feeding the ball to CeeDee Lamb, and it's so freaking obvious. It's so obvious, man. And finally, the Green Bay Packers versus Chicago Bears. We all know I'm a Green Bay Packers fan at heart, but I like to say objective. This game, I really feel like Aaron Rodgers was a little bit more comfortable. He had his guys back. Alan Lazard was back. Robert Tonyan's back. It just makes you feel better knowing that your main guys are out there, even if, you know, Alan Lazard only 3 targets, Tonyan only 2 targets, but you know, everybody on the freaking team had around 3 or 4 targets. I don't think anybody had over 3 receptions on the whole team. Sammy Watkins led the way, 3 receptions, 93 yards. Aaron Jones, 3 receptions, 38 yards. Randall Cobb, 3 receptions, 37 yards. Dobbs, 2 receptions, 27 yards. Alan Lazard, 2 for 13. Tonyan, 2 for 11. Christian Watson, 3 for 9. Nobody really had a spectacular performance on this team, but Aaron Jones, man, look, I have been shouting to the heavens about the Packers underuse, misuse of Aaron Jones for the last 2 years, okay? It's kind of crazy how this guy right here could be a 2,000-yard rusher. He's a smaller guy, but, yo, he doesn't get the carries. And then there was games last season where he would just be gone the whole second half. I don't know if there were inside things going on, he was hurt or whatever, but there's times where they just completely go away from Aaron Jones. They just completely forgot about how talented this guy is. Now, 15 carries later, he's got a $132 and a tutty and a 36-yard carry. I love A.J. Dillon. I love the fact that you got 2 running backs you can split the carries with, but I think when Aaron Jones isn't running the ball, he needs to be in the flats. He needs to be across the middle. He needs to be catching those short dump downs and creating. He's literally the most creative player on our team. He's literally the most creative. Devontae Adams is gone. Aaron Jones should be our number 1 guy at this point. I mean, even whether that's rushing or receiving, we should be looking to force feed the ball to Aaron Jones, because what I do find is that he's better when you're forcing him. He's better. He's better when you're like, all right, you're all we got. Go get it. He'll go get it for you. Now, I will say this. The Packers defense was pretty impressive yesterday. We're talking about the Bears at the same time. So, you know, you can't get too high or too low, but the defensive backs looked a lot quicker to respond. The cornerbacks looked a lot more game as far as what their assignments were. Nobody over there to really lock in on. Equanimous St. Brown, your former teammates over there. David Montgomery, your former teammates over there. That's about it. They don't really have anything. The Bears don't really have anything. David Montgomery, 15 carries, 122 yards, and that's all they got is David Montgomery, and he still got a $122 on the pack. You know, Justin Fields' first drive looked amazing, and I said, yo, we're gonna be in for a long night. I remember saying that we're gonna be in for a long one, and then from there he just poo-pooed the rest of the game away. I'm not gonna sit here and lie. Well, a young quarterback like that, once you start seeing them slouch over and hunch over and sad and all this shit, it's not good, bro. I'd rather see a dude flip flipping the table over, throwing the tablet on the ground, cussing people out because he's playing bad, and a guy walking around sad. Now, this is not what we heard about Justin Fields. I'm a Buckeye fan. Justin Fields is supposed to be a gladiator, a warrior. But hey, I mean, you have to learn in the league. You have to learn how to survive in the league, and that tape yesterday on Justin Fields is not good. It's not good. 7 for 11, 70 yards, no touchdowns, 1 interception, sacked 3 times, lost 22 yards. Only sacked 3 times, lost 22 yards, yo. His QBR, 6.7. His passer rating, 43. Bro, you're not going to stay in this league doing that. You're going to be a backup really soon. Ask Geno Smith. Ask Geno. Oh, the Packers win 27-10. The first half of the game was exciting. The second half was a dud. My Packers, we always find a way to play not to lose in the second half of games when we have a big lead in the first half. The whole second half, we're up 24-7 at halftime. The whole second half, I'm like, what are we doing, y'all? What are we doing? This is how if we were playing against a quality team, that's literally how we usually let teams creep back in the game, is by playing to not lose. You just got to wait and see with this team's. I don't really know exactly. Who's next? We'll see, man. Hopefully tonight's game is a good game. The Eagles look promising. We'll see what Jalen Hurts is made of tonight against a very good Vikings defense. Maybe we will talk before that game. Look, man, if you're still listening, I definitely appreciate it. I love doing these. And hopefully, we'll holler back again later. Respect.